Hi guys, welcome to today's video. So in this video I'm going to be reading your 5-star reads. So I asked over on my Instagram to tell me the books you've given 5 stars and I'm going to be reading them in this video. So if you want to be a part of videos like this in the future, make sure you go follow my Instagram. First, before we get into it, I do want to say that reading is very subjective. So these books are some of you guys' 5-star reads. Some of these books you guys love. And if I don't love them, I'm sorry. But reading is very subjective. There are books that a lot of people love that I hate. And there are books that I love that other people hate. So it's very subjective and I'm sorry if I don't like a book you rated 5 stars. But the books I'm planning to read in this video, I'm very excited for. So fingers crossed, I love all of these books. So let's go through all the responses I got. I'll be honest, I didn't really get that many, but that's okay. It makes it easier for me to go through them. So I'll put on screen every response I got and let's cross out all of the books I've read. I've actually read quite a few of your guys' 5-star reads. Let's go through all the other books that I haven't read. So 6 of Crows, I do have and I've been meaning to read for a while. The Chance, I've actually never heard of. Mexican Gothic, I have heard about that book quite a bit. In Memoriam, haven't heard about that book. The Perks of Being a Wallflower, Radio Silence, Just Kids and No Exit, 1,000 Boy Kisses, The Martian, The Naturals, The Serpents and the Wings of Night, Magnolia Parks. Don't think I'm ever going to be reading that series, to be honest. I don't think it's for me. I don't like reading toxic relationships. A Good Girl's Guide to Murder, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, another 6 of Crows. 6 of Crows is the only book we got twice, which I'm not surprised about whatsoever. Everyone loves that book. And yeah, those are all the books I haven't read. So I tried to pick books that I own in my physical TBR for this. The first book I decided to pick that I own, which this was like a no-brainer. This one in particular, I was like, oh, I'm definitely going to be reading this book in this video. The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I actually heard this book recently, but I've been wanting to read it for a really long time. It has been a really popular fantasy romance for a while now and it's really hyped up, which makes me nervous to read it, but I do want to like rip off the band-aid and finally read it. I feel like I'm really hesitant to read really hyped up popular books, even though I read majority hyped up popular books, but I feel like there's some books that in particular I'm really nervous to read. This is one of them, but I finally want to get into it. Some people absolutely love it. I have heard negative reviews, but I'm gonna try and go in to this book with no like prior thoughts or feelings. I feel like I go into a lot of books expecting it to not be good or expecting it to be amazing, and I'm just gonna go in and try to have fun. I'm gonna try and not go in with any expectations, but this is the first book I picked to read, and then the second book I picked to read is Radio Silence by Alice Oseman. I can't be bothered to go get it, but this book I kind of hauled recently. My sister gave it to me and she's had it for a long time and I've been planning to read it at some point. I love Heartstopper by Alice Oseman and I really wanted to read one of her like standalone novels. All of her books I'm pretty sure are YA and they have really good representation for mental health issues and sexuality, and I'm really interested to read a book from a teenage girl's perspective because Heartstopper is mostly like 90% in the point of view of Nick and Charlie. So I want to see how she writes a teenage girl's perspective. I'm really curious to see what the book is about. And then the last book I'm going to read I actually don't own, but it's one of the 24 books I want to read in 2024, so I was planning to read it anyways, and that is Just Kids by Patti Smith. So there's the third book I chose to read in this video. I'm very excited for all of these books. I feel like we got a good variety of books, and like I said so many times, I'm excited. I've been wanting to read all of these books for quite a long time, so we're gonna get into them. The first book we're gonna start with is The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I know I'm gonna struggle at starting this book, but I'm very excited to get into it regardless. I'm really nervous, but I will update you guys once I've gotten into it and let you know my thoughts. There will be no spoilers in this reading vlog as always. Also, I'm almost at 1,000 subscribers, so please subscribe if you like my videos. There is a special reading vlog I want to make for 1,000 subscribers, so I really appreciate it if you subscribed. And also, I'm so thankful that I'm almost at 1,000. It feels surreal. Like, it actually is wild to me that people actually watch my videos. But yeah, thank you. I really appreciate it. I appreciate your support so much. I'm gonna get into The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I will update you guys very soon. Well, not very soon, maybe soon. I'm not sure. My brain can't compute these words. Sumptuous elegance. What does that even mean? What is sumptuous? I've never heard that word in my life. I like pretty writing, but sometimes it's like a headache to read. Like this sentence. The view from my window was a symmetrical sea of undulating curves. It's like, it's a lot of pretty words, but it's a lot for my brain. Hi guys, so I haven't updated you in quite a while. I've just been super unwell. I don't know what's going on. I've just been having so many headaches and I've been so tired and just been very unproductive. But I do have some book updates for you guys. I've been reading this book for like a week now and I've made not a lot of progress. I haven't really felt like reading, but I've also been having headaches. I've been tired. I'm struggling a little, but I did make quite a bit of progress last night. I feel like the past week I've only been reading like 20 pages a day, but last night I read 100, I think, maybe. I'm wearing this shrug that I made, which I talked about in my ultimate book video, so I'm not going to talk anymore about it because you guys are probably sick of hearing about it. But this is like the first crochet clothing I've made in like a year or something, and it's not perfect, but it's good enough to wear. So anyways, yeah, I am now on page 167. I will say first that there is a lot of trigger warnings at the start of the book. So if you want to read this book, please check the trigger warnings. I was surprised to see all the trigger warnings because I don't think I've heard anyone mention them. And I feel like people should definitely if you have a book channel, should mention if books have trigger warnings. It is also definitely on the author to include those trigger warnings. I feel like some books I've read didn't have trigger warnings, or it wasn't really expressed very well what triggering things are in the book. Moving on, there are a lot of trigger warnings at the front, so I would take that into consideration if you want to read this book. But basically, we are following Oriya, I think that's how you say her name. She is a human, and she was taken in by the vampire king. He is the king of Nightborn, and she was 8, I think, and there was a big war between the Nightborn vampires and other vampires, I think, and her family was killed and she was left in the destruction, and he took her in and basically raised her. So she's been living in the Nightborn palace with her vampire dad, and she's been constantly surrounded by vampires. She's had to live her whole life in fear, but she's also been taught how to protect herself, how to fight. It's been a very challenging situation for her, I guess. She's not surrounded by many humans. Humans in this world are disregarded. They're treated like food, basically, by vampires. The humans live in like the slums. They are poor. They are disregarded in this world, basically. And so she's grown up surrounded by vampires. She's never fit in. She doesn't really fit in with the humans either, since she's lived in this world surrounded by vampires. She has the protection of the vampire king. And there's this trial that happens every 100 years or maybe more. I'm not completely sure. You enter this trial that is made by Nyaxia, who is the goddess of vampires. I think she's like the goddess of vampires. She has this tournament called the Kajari. Basically, if you win this tournament, you get a gift from Nyaxia. So this tournament usually has mostly vampires entering and fighting in these trials that are similar to like the Hunger Games, Powerless, where you basically fight to the death. Oriya is the only human in this trial. She basically her whole life, well, since she was very young, knew she wanted to compete in this trial. She knew she wanted to be more powerful than she already is. She wanted to be something other than just a human. She's hated how fragile she is as a human, and she's wanted to do something more with her life. The trials have started, and she's met Rain, I think is how you say his name. He's a vampire, and I think he is a vampire of the like enemy of Nightborn. In these trials, there's one trial in particular where you need to have like a team or a partner, and that has stayed consistent throughout all of the Kajaris. So she knows she needs to partner up with someone, but that's obviously very dangerous. Vampires can become overwhelmed with the sense of human blood. They can act on impulse. They go crazy with bloodlust. So she hasn't let anyone, any vampire, anyone close to her neck. She is afraid of them, and she doesn't want to be killed, obviously. So she is very untrusting of vampires in particular, but she needs to ally with someone, and Rain wants to ally with her. He sees potential in her, and she's very skeptical, obviously, but they do end up being allies in this tournament, and that's kind of what I've gone to so far. They're starting to get to know each other, but obviously she doesn't want to trust anyone. I am enjoying the book. I'm not loving it. I've seen a lot of people be like obsessed with this book and be like really hooked. I'm not really feeling that. I did read a lot last night. I feel like I got to an interesting point last night and I couldn't stop reading. Before that, I felt like I wasn't really that into it. I feel that with a lot of fantasy books, when I start it, I'm not really that into it, and it takes a while for me to get interested into the story. Rain is a lot different from what I imagined. I feel like a lot of fantasy romances, the male love interest is like dark and brooding, which he is, but he's also like very smiley. Is that a good word? He's just different than I thought. He's not as grumpy or standoffish. I'm intrigued to see where this goes. I will say I'm not really that interested in the actual trials. I feel like I'm more interested in what's happening outside of them. They're staying in this moon palace in between each trial, and she's getting to know Rain and his best friend Misha, and that is more interesting to me than the actual trials. I feel like the trials also aren't that long compared to the rest of the book. Like I feel like the trials go on for like a chapter or two, and then the stuff in between is longer, and the trials just themselves aren't that interesting to me. Also, I've just read so many fantasy books with trials that they've just become not that interesting. Like, I know she's not gonna die. Like, that's a given. She's not gonna die in any of these trials, so it's not really that exciting. And I'm hoping to read a lot more today. It is late in the afternoon. I woke up so late and I had a bad headache all day. I was in pain and yada yada. I do most of my reading during the nighttime, so hopefully I get a lot done and I can update you guys soon once I have more progress.
So baby, it's a shame that we don't operate well, baby. Cause you're bad for my health, I swear you go to hell. Take the L, I don't wanna see you swell no more. And you might be the death of me now, baby, but we don't want no homicide now, do we? And shooting my soul so loud, are you happy now? Cause I really hate you. You made me so blue, and I promise to God I'll cut you off. But I really need you, and I really don't want to, yeah. But we'll keep playing games.
Hi guys, so I'm now on page 285 of The Serpent and the Wings of Night, and I don't really have many more thoughts. I kind of feel the same about it. I'm not really hooked. I'm liking it, but I'm not like obsessed with the story. I have around 200 pages left, maybe a little less. I'm gonna try and finish it today. I've also been crocheting, so I showed you guys this in my last reading vlog, my color wheel reading vlog. I was crocheting a flower sweater, so I crocheted the front piece and the back piece, and I started on the sleeve, but then I ran out of wool and I didn't get more until the other day, so I've started working on it again. I've been working on the sleeve. I'm almost done the sleeve. I think I only need like maybe one more flower. I want to make sure it's long enough because with my shrug I made, I underestimated how long to make the sleeves, so I then had to extend them, and it's going to be harder to make the sleeves longer. Like, it would just be easier if I make them long enough the first time I make it. I think I only have a few more rows to do, and then I'm going to make another sleeve, and then I'm going to attach it. But I am so proud of myself. I've been making so much stuff, and before, when I used to crochet, I think I made a lot of stuff, but I feel like it took me a long time, and almost everything I made I don't wear or use now, and I'm hoping I can make more things that I can wear every day and use. I also crocheted a little snail for my brother. I don't have a good photo, and he's been obsessed with snails lately. He's 5. No, he's 4. He's almost 5. And the other day he was pretending to be a snail, so I made him one and he really liked it. It was so cute. But I've just been loving crochet at the moment, and I want to make some book related crochet stuff and possibly sell it. I have some ideas. I need to get the yarn for it, but that is something I really want to do. But yeah, I'm gonna do some more reading. It is late in the afternoon. I've not been feeling well still. I don't know what's going on, but I'm just like giving up at this point because I'm just sick all the time, and whenever I finally think I know what's wrong with me, it turns out that's not it. I do all these tests and they're like, you're completely fine. So I'm just so over it. I'm so over going to the doctor and everything. Like, it's so frustrating. But anyways, I'm gonna do some more reading, hopefully finish Serpent and the Wings of Night. I think I'll stay up to finish it, and then I'll also do some crocheting. I will update you guys probably tomorrow. Okay, so I finished The Serpent and the Wings of Night last night. It did take me longer to finish than I thought it would. I think the last clip I was talking, I said I was going to try and finish it that day. That didn't happen. I think it's been 2 more days or more. The way this book ended made me so mad. I have never been more annoyed at a book ending. That's probably not true, but I was really struggling to get through the last 100 pages. Like, I was reading this so slowly. I was getting so bored with the story. I even considered, well, I tried to listen to an audiobook of it to finish it, which I never listen to audiobooks. They're just not for me. I would love to get into them, but so far they haven't worked out for me. Like, when I try to listen to an audiobook, I get distracted and I forget to actually listen to what's being said in the audiobook. But I looked on Spotify to see if they had one for free. They didn't. I looked other places and I couldn't find an audiobook. I wasn't going to pay for one. So I was like, fine, I will read the last like 50 pages I had left. I was really like trudging, is that a good word? I was really struggling to get through it. I was just really bored with the story. And the ending made me so mad. Oh my god. Rain, the male main character, I feel like firstly, I didn't really like him that much. Like, I liked him, but I didn't love him. When it comes to fantasy romances, it's really important for me to love the male main character. Because I feel like in a lot of them, they are like the villain or the enemy, and you need to like them or grow to like them. And I just didn't really like him that much. I didn't not like him, I just didn't really care about him. I don't know, I was kind of indifferent towards him. And then the ending made me actually like hate him. I understand what he did, like why he did it. It's not even that I have a problem with. It's some of the things he said, for one, was absolutely disgusting. And I know why he said them, but it was still disgusting and I hated every bit of it. Like, I hated it so much. And it just made me not want to continue this series whatsoever. And I don't think I'm going to, because I don't like him. I really, really don't. And the ending just annoyed me. Even when he explained himself, I'm like, I don't care. You're gross. And I don't want to read about you. I don't know. I feel like overall, I wasn't really that obsessed with this story. I was kind of bored. I gave it a 3.5. It was leaning more towards a 4 stars until around like the last 100 pages when I was really struggling to read it. And the part at the end that really annoyed me just took it down to a 3.5 because I was just really annoyed. And I know I'm just not going to continue this series. I have no desire to. And I feel really bad. I checked my friends' ratings of this book and all of them are literally a 5 or a 4 stars. There's like 1 or 2 low ratings and I feel really bad. And I wish I loved this book. I really wish I did. Unsure if I'm going to read the novella because there is a novella that goes after this book. I think it's called 6 Scorched Roses and I think it follows a different story. And I've heard really good things about it, so I'm intrigued. And it's like interconnected, but it follows different characters and it's like a romance fantasy. And I'm really intrigued to read it. But since I didn't have a positive experience with this book, I don't know if I want to. But if I do read it, I'll probably read it on Kindle Unlimited since I think it's on there. The things he said, also knowing what she had been through, was just so disgusting. I don't care. I don't care. I don't like him. So... moving on, we're going to read the next book of this video. I've been really undecisive of which book I should read next because I'm not really feeling either of them, but I'm also not feeling like reading at all. I don't know why, I'm just not really in a mood to read at the moment, but I'm going to read. I don't know which book to pick because I want to make sure I pick a book that doesn't make my like mini slump I'm in worse. I'm kind of leaning more towards Radio Silence because I think this will be fast paced, but it's also YA and I'm not a big fan of YA, even though I think this will be good, but like, I don't know if it's the best book to go into when I don't feel like reading, but I also don't think this will be a good one either because I feel like this is going to be sad and I don't think I'm mentally prepared for that right now. My mental health has just not been good lately, so I don't think I want to pick up a sad book right now, even though I think this book is also going to be kind of sad, but I feel like it's going to be happier than just kids. So I think I'm going to start this book. I'm going to start it today. It is 3 p.m. I've been waking up so late lately and I hate it. I'm a morning person. I like waking up early, but I've been waking up at like 12 p.m. and it's driving me mad because I hate doing that. But because I wake up so late, I then go to bed late and then I wake up late and then and I'm trying to get stuff done since I woke up so late, but then I end up going to bed so late because I'm trying to get stuff done, and then I'm just in like a never-ending cycle. And also the weather isn't helping as well because it's just been really gloomy and rainy, and me being unwell and my mental health isn't helping either, but it's okay. Oh, I have something to show you guys. Okay, wait. Did I already show you guys this? I don't think I did. Did I don't know. So this sweater I was crocheting, I finished one sleeve and I attached the front and the back, and I have to just finish the other sleeve. I have to do like 2 more flowers and then I'm done, and then I can attach it. And I'm so excited. I'm so excited. Should I try it on now? Okay. It obviously looks a little silly because it's not done, but I'm so happy. The sleeve I made too long. I'm so happy. Almost done. The last time I made a sweater, like a proper sweater, not a shrug or anything, it took me like 6 months to a year to make, and that was a while ago. And I made it for my sister and it didn't turn out good at all. Well, it was decent. I don't think she's worn it once, but I don't blame her. But I'm so happy I actually made something that looks good. Oh, I'm so happy. I've made other things, but I feel like I don't know why I'm so proud of this when I've made clothes before, but the pattern is so cute. Also, I love this yarn. I love how it changes color, and it was also like really easy. Once I got a hang of the pattern, it's so easy to do. I was literally crocheting the other sleeve in the dark last night. I'm hopefully going yarn shopping soon. I have some projects in mind I really want to make, but I need to get more yarn. I'm so excited. It's also so easy to do. I feel like reading, while it's easy to do, it does take some brain power, and crochet is a lot easier once you're like in the middle of a project. When you're like starting a new project, it's not as easy, but I feel like I don't really have to think when I'm doing it. I'm sorry if you guys don't care about the crochet stuff, but I want to talk about it, so I am. But yeah, I'm gonna start with Radio Silence, I think. I don't know what it's about. It says it has themes of identity, diversity, and the freedom to choose. I'll update you guys once I get into Radio Silence. Hopefully it won't take me as long to read this book as it took me to read The Serpent and the Wings of Night. I kind of feel like I wasted time because it took me so long to read that book. And I never really regret reading a book. I feel like every book I read adds to my experience as a reader, like even the bad books. You need to read bad books to have books that you love. It makes the books that you love mean so much more. But it's hard for me not to feel that way when I feel like I've wasted time on a book that ended with the outcome I didn't want. Like, why can't books just go the way I want them to? Like, seriously? I say that with like no experience of being a writer, except like high school experience, but it's okay. I'll update you guys hopefully soon. Hi guys, I do have some reading updates. I have not broken the sleep cycle I'm in where I wake up at like 12 p.m. I thought today would be the day, but it's not. I think I have an appointment early tomorrow, so I guess I have to break it tomorrow. But so far with Radio Silence, I'm on page 110 and I was correct. This is going really fast. Like, I feel like I'm reading this so quickly. Going into this book, I kind of had no idea what it was about and where it was going to go, and I still don't really know. At some point, I think like 20-30 pages in, I was like, oh, this is a romance, this is really cute. And now I'm further in and I'm like, I don't actually think this is a romance. I'm a bit confused, but we're following Frances, who had a best friend, Carrie's, which I've never heard that name before. I don't know, it's not just Carrie. Is that a popular name? But every time I read it, I want to say Carrie, but I have to say Carrie's. They're best friends. I don't think they're actually best friends for a long period of time, but Carrie's actually runs away and she goes missing. And Frances is in her last year of school. She is head girl of the school. She's like top of the school in her grades. She has a lot of pressure on herself to be basically excellent, to get into the university she wants to get into, and she kind of feels like she doesn't have anything else going on for her. Like, she doesn't really have any hobbies. But there's one thing that she does like, which is a podcast called Universe City. It is like this small YouTube podcast. It's like a mystery, I think, with all these really interesting characters, and she's never met anyone who's listened to the podcast, and she doesn't tell anyone about it. But she would draw fan art for this podcast, and the podcast reached out to her and asked her if she wanted to collaborate and draw stuff for the actual podcast. And it turns out the person that runs the actual podcast has like a hidden identity. They use like voice changes and stuff. And she finds out that the creator of this podcast is actually Carrie's twin brother, Aliad. He goes to a different school and they barely know each other, but he lives across the road from her, and she finds out he is the creator of this podcast. And I don't really think that's a spoiler. You find out really early, and I kind of like figured it out straight away. Yes, she finds out he's the creator of it, and they become really good friends. And Elliot is really shy. He doesn't speak to many people. He is best friends with Daniel, who is the head boy at Frances's school. I don't know, it's a very interesting dynamic between all of them. Frances and Elliot are a lot more similar than they thought. Frances kind of hides her true personality in front of her friends at school. She doesn't really act like herself. Yeah, I feel like so far it's been a lot about her experience at school, how she's struggling. Also with Carrie's disappearance, I feel like there's a lot of stuff we don't know yet. Really unsure about where this story is going to go. I feel like that's kind of a good thing because it'll be interesting to see what happens. It is also like I said, so fast for me to read, so I feel like it won't take long for me to read this. Yeah, one thing I don't like is the amount of times the word like ERM, or like, what was the other one? Like ER, I think was used a lot. Like those like awkward words are used in like sentences and when they speak a lot, and it's kind of annoying. But this came out in 2016, so I feel like that was language that was more used in like YA and like Wattpad books. Like it's giving kind of Wattpad writing, and this was Alice Oseman's only like her second book, but it's like kind of annoying to read that over and over and over again. But it also like does fit in with the story and the characters. I don't know, I think I'm gonna do a lot more reading tonight. I just filmed a video that took me so much longer than I thought it would take me, and so I want to get it up soon. It is my book talk video, basically where I talk about a bunch of book talk books and my thoughts on them, and I want to get it out soon, but I feel like it's going to take me so long to edit. And sit down videos, I hate editing because I feel like it's really boring because I'm just editing like a really long clip, but I should also get some reading done, so we'll see what I do. Oh, also I finished my crochet sweater. I made my flower one. I finished it. It is drying now. I'll put it on maybe in like the next clip once it's dry, but I'm so happy I finished it. I'm so happy. I feel so proud of myself. But yeah, I will update you guys once I've read some more. Hi guys, so I finished Radio Silence last night and it took me a lot longer to finish than I thought. I think I said that about the other book as well. I definitely do think I'm in a bit of a slump, not like a full-on reading slump, but just a slump where I'm not really enjoying what I'm reading and I'm not really in the mood to read. When I do read, I enjoy reading, but I'm not loving the books I'm currently reading, so I think I'm definitely in a bit of a slump. But my thoughts about Radio Silence. So I gave it a 3.5 stars and I definitely enjoyed this book, but I think it didn't really fit my demographic, which I kind of knew going into it since it's young adult and I'm 20. But some young adult books still sort of fit me because the characters might be like 19 or 20. But in this book, Frances is 16, no, she's 17 turning 18, and she's in high school, and that part of my life is very much over. I had a horrible time at high school, just school in general. I had a horrible time, and Frances is having a horrible time at school as well. She's struggling with her friends. She doesn't really act like herself at school. She's very much like quiet and boring, and she's just not herself, and I definitely relate to that. And she's struggling with not knowing what she wants to do after school and all these different things that I like 100% relate to when I was in school. But there are also things I don't really want to think about. Like I don't want to think about high school anymore. It was such a horrible time that I just don't want to think about it anymore. And this just reminded me of that time and how I felt in all of those years, which was like a massive period of my life. It was most of my life. I've only been out of school for like 2 years. So yeah, it wasn't really the most enjoyable read. I wish I read this when I was younger, when I was maybe 14, 15 or 16, because those years I definitely felt the most alone. I felt like I was the only person feeling like that. I didn't really even know about mental health issues, that I had mental health issues. I had no idea, and I think this would have definitely helped me not feel as alone. And I think if you're in school and you're struggling, you should definitely read this book, especially as well if you're questioning your sexuality, if you're a part of the LGBTQIA+. I think this would be helpful to not feel as alone. I definitely like how Alice Oseman talks about these things. She makes it very easy to understand, and she's not judgmental, and we need definitely more books like this for teenagers and younger kids who feel like they're alone. It also discusses family issues, having issues with your parents. There's like, I guess, a slight trigger warning for some stuff. Nothing really, some like borderline triggering things happen, not with Francis's family, but Alad's, his family. But yeah, it is a very helpful book, I think, but it's just not useful to me anymore, and it just kind of brought up bad memories, I guess. And it wasn't the most interesting. Like, I was kind of bored at some parts. I feel like the writing is a little dated because there is so much talk about like Tumblr. It was written in 2016, I think, and it kind of reminds me of that like Tumblr John Green era. I've never read a John Green book, but I like have an idea of what his books are like. And it kind of reminded me of that writing, and also the use of like and those sort of words, those like quirky words, kind of dates it a little, but you can obviously still read it now. But yeah, it was overall a good book, but I didn't love it, and it's definitely not a useful book to me. But I would highly recommend it to anyone in school to read this book. I think it definitely make you feel less alone, and it is a very easy book to read. That's all I really have to say about this book. And that being said, I actually think I'm gonna end this video here and not read another book, because I don't think reading just kids will help with my reading slump. I think it'll be more of a slow and emotional read, and I don't think that will help with my reading slump and also like my mental health at the moment. I feel like it's not a good book to read right now. I definitely do want to read it in the future, but right now I feel like it's not a good book to read. So I do want to end this video here, and I want to start a new reading vlog with a book I think will get me out of a slump. But I'm actually planning to read one of your 5-star books next month, hopefully. So that'll be in a reading vlog, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue, which I'm really scared to read, but I'm buddy reading it, so I feel like that will make it easier to read. But I am reading another one of your 5-star reads, just not in this reading vlog. And I definitely do want to make another one of these videos in the future. Maybe the start of next year I could do reading your guys' favorite books of 2024. I wanted to do that this year, but I just never did it for some reason. So maybe I could do that at the start of next year. This video was a lot of fun. I love seeing what books you guys love and reading them. And I'm sorry I didn't love the books I read, but I still enjoyed them, and I'm so happy that I read them. Yeah, also, literally this morning I hit 1,000 subscribers, and I'm so happy. I'm so happy. It's like not that big of an achievement, but it feels really big to me because I've been looking forward to it for a really long time. I feel like it definitely took me a while to get there, but I am really thankful for you guys for actually watching my videos and enjoying my content. I put so much work and hours into these videos, and I obviously enjoy making them, and I love reading, and it's so nice that you guys enjoy watching these videos, and it makes all the effort and work I put into them kind of worth it. Like, even though I still enjoy making these videos, it makes it even more worth it that you guys also enjoy watching them, and I'm really thankful. I'm really thankful. So thank you to anyone that's watched one of my videos, that's subscribed, that's liked, that's commented on a video. I really appreciate it from like the bottom of my heart. I really do. So thank you again. But I'm gonna end this video here. I have a book Instagram, a book TikTok, a Goodreads, all linked down below as usual. And thank you for watching. I really appreciate it. Bye.